Hi, I'm Cassandra McGlaughlin, also known as Cassandra Platinum, Alfaparf Milano Professionals Global Ambassador, and I'm so excited to be here today to show you one of my strategic foiling methods on my model, Emily. So today on Emily, we're going to use a strategic foil placement that I call the 22. It's a high-impact, low foil placement that allows you to work with salon reality timing. I call it the 22 because the first time I used this placement, I actually only used 22 foils on my model to get a full foil highlight look. So what we utilize is the natural fall of the hair, really concentrating the lightness where it really creates impact, which is around the face, and then utilizing a more spread out placement in the interior of the hair, really making each foil count so you can work smarter, not harder. So today on Emily, we're going to be using the BB Bleach Easy Lift 7. The reason why I'm choosing this lightener is because it's ideal for lightening on level 6 and above. It utilizes marula oil and it also has its own bonding system to help maintain the strength and health of the hair in a traditional foil application. With this lightener, you also have the option of mixing at a 1 to 1.5 to a 1 to 2 ratio, depending on what you need in your lightening service. Now we're going to mix, and I'm going to be utilizing the 1 to 2 mixing ratio, utilizing the 10 volume Oxido developer. So now we're going to go ahead and get Emily sectioned off for our foiling pattern. The beautiful thing with strategic foiling is that it utilizes the natural fall of the hair with a brick-lay pattern and diagonal foil sectioning, which allows the hair to part anywhere and have an even distribution of lightness. So we're going to be working off a center part today, and we're going to section off the front section from the interior from the back. And I utilize this with a really easy triangular section where I look to where the hair starts to fall forward. There's a natural separation. So I go from part to center of the ear, and then I work right past the apex. And what this isolates is the front section that falls forward, the interior section that falls on more of a horizontal plane, and then the back of the hair that's going to live on this vertical plane back here. So that one simple section creates 3 different segments that allows me to work with the natural fall of the hair. I'm going to go ahead and section the same on the other side as well. So when working with this type of parting, it's important not to get too consumed with making them perfect parting. We're really looking for creating even distribution of density of the hair and looking with how the hair is naturally falling. So on Emily here, we can see this section was isolated because this hair is moving forward, and this is the natural split where the hair starts moving down. And so it's really important to customize each individual placement based off of your guest density of the hair, which sometimes can even be different side to side. So it's important to look at each section individually and make that determination. So for Emily's hair, we're going to start in the back. And you can see this section, how it lays, where it's all living in this back section. I'm going to start at the hairline, and I think it's really important to make sure you get a really good foil saturation at this back hairline, because sometimes our guests will wear their hair with this piece forward, and if it's missing that lightness, it actually can create a pocket of depth that makes the overall effect look darker. So I'm going to start in the back, and I'm going to work my way up. I'm going to go a little bit more concentrated with my foils at the hairline and more spaced out as I move towards the top. One of the ways I choose how I space my foils is the end result versus where the canvas is starting. Because Emily has such a light natural color, I can space my foils out and do a lesser ratio of light to natural and still get a bright result. If I wanted to make a bigger change, I would just put my foils a little closer together. So we got our 3 foils at the back hairline, and we're actually going to repeat the same process on the other side. With these foils, I ensured that as I was weaving the section, I picked up a piece intentionally right behind the ear instead of leaving a space there. And I just went with the natural shape of the hairline, and now I'm going to repeat that on the other side. So now that I have the back hairline done, I'm going to go into the section that I call the interior. The reason why I look at it as an interior versus the hairline hair is going to have more impact. With this interior section, there's a lot of hair that is inside that can't necessarily be seen. So this is where we get to take a little bit more liberty in spacing our foils a little bit farther apart to still get the impact that we need without having to overfoil. What I'm going to do in order to really make sure that I get full coverage out of my foils is I'm actually going to be connecting the dots. So I've got these foils that slightly overlap. My next section, I'm going to have you tilt your head forward. I'm going to take a horizontal section right at the top of the occipital. And what I'm looking for is the placement that's actually going to veil over that whole section and create a marriage between the hairline sections. This is going to give a really even distribution of light with very few foils. So I'm going to work horizontal section, and then I'm going to bricklay from there, working my way all the way up to the crown. So we've worked our way through the back section, and you can see we've worked with really minimal foils. We've got 3 on each hairline section. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got a total of 11 foils to work through the entire back. Utilizing the bricklay placement where we have 2 diagonal foils with a horizontal in the middle gives us high impact all the way across the entire back section with only 3 foils. We're going to go ahead and move to the interior on each side, and we're going to use a similar placement utilizing the 45-degree diagonal. So we went ahead and worked through both sides using opposing triangular 45-degree diagonal sections. So we've got a foil that goes this way, and then the next one will go this way, working to a horizontal placement at the top of the head. As we get past the parietal with the sectioning, it moves into the more horizontal sections, and I shift into a finer weave pattern, which gives us about 1 inch on either side of the part, where she can part anywhere and still get an even distribution of light. So now we're going to move to the front hairline placement. This is really going to encompass both sides and the front section. And as I work through these placements, obviously hair can be cut very differently on the front depending on if our guests have bangs or if they have layers. So I always look for an even distribution of density in my sectioning, and then I pull everything towards the center and I work off a center point out. And by utilizing slightly overlapping foils, that gives our guests the ability, again, to part their hair anywhere and have an even distribution of light. So we finished our foil placement on Emily, and you can see we were able to work through her entire head using high impact placement with minimal foils. We're going to go ahead and finish this color service with Colorwear Gloss Toner. So for Emily's formula, we're going to be using the 0.8N at her root mixed at a 1-to-1 ratio to get a little bit more intensity and depth at the root. At the ends and the mids, we're going to be using the 0.9.132 which is a natural golden ash violet to give a really beautiful neutralized end result. So to start Emily's toning service, we're actually going to go in with a bowl and brush and do a root tap with the 8N. The way that the root tap is, you don't have to pull it down too far. I literally just tap right at the root just to take the edge off of the highlights and to blend into her natural. Now, one of the things that I do in order to create a really easy application is I'll section the front from the back, and then I'll work in vertical sections. And this gives you kind of a condensed method where you can work in larger sections. I'll work in a vertical section, use a little bit of tension, pull the section back, and then I'll tap at the root that way. And it allows me to work a little bit faster and with a little bit larger sectioning while not compromising saturation and ease of application. And once the root tap's on, then I'll use the bottle to go through the mids and the ends. So we're going to mix our formula for her mids and ends, and we're going to be using the 09.132 and also the 09.2 in a 2-to-1 ratio mixed 1 part to 2 with the developer. So this is the finished toner application on Emily. We went ahead and applied the root tap first, and then we applied the mids and ends for a total processing time of 20 minutes. So this is the finished color on Emily, and you can see she got nice and bright, and we were able to utilize the strategic foiling method with under 30 foils to achieve this result, which is a high impact placement, but with salon reality timing. And you can see the end result is shiny and healthy thanks to the Colorwear Gloss Toner. And this is something I think that really suits Emily. It gives her a beautiful tone, and it's gonna give her an amazing grow out. So you can see as we look through the back of Emily's hair, it's got a really beautiful even distribution of lightness. We were able to do the entire back section in 11 foils, but she still got that high impact blonde, which gives a really beautiful dimensional end result.